Well, today on the Income Flip podcast, I've got Matias Daroch from Miami, right? Well, not originally from Miami, originally from Chile. Hey, welcome, Matias, to the Income Flip podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, man. Well, it's my pleasure to have you. I was on your website, perusing the beautiful homes that you have designed, right? And what we love to do here is really unpack the story of the entrepreneur. Like, I know that you come from a real estate investment family, and then you decided to get into architecture, so that's your side of the family. But you're also part of a. It sounds like a development company, right? Like you have another development company as well, and you do a lot of vertically integrated business. So I just want to learn all about that. So let's kind of go back to the beginning. Like, it sounds like real estate's been in your blood since the beginning, right? Give me the roots of that.
Well, not that, not that much really.
Okay.
Uh, we don't know. Still talking to my parents, my mom and dad. We don't know where did I get my my desire to be an architect, and I think it comes mostly from my mom designer side.
Mm.
She's always been like into decor stuff and creative mindset and all, and at some point I was still in middle school when I said I'm gonna be an architect, and I never changed my opinion on it. I did venture around like let's maybe I want more of the like the design graphic stuff and all, but I quickly came back to architecture. So my my goal was always gonna be out of school, getting into architecture school and going from there. Um,
Which is, by the way, like so unique because most people have no idea what they want to do, right? So that's amazing that you knew
that's what I keep
from.
hearing.
Yeah, most people don't have no clue, right? They default into things, right? It sounds like you knew pretty early on, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that it was like there was no questions asked, and I grew. Well, part of my story is that I came into Miami when I was very young. I went back to Chile where I studied, and my end of the school years and architecture school was not in Santiago, not the capital city of Chile. It was in Concepcion, it's a smaller town. And part of it was also knowing that I wanted to stay in that city. I didn't want to go
Hmm.
back to the capital. I wanted to stay there, be there, because in a way I knew that I was not gonna be there forever, and because I was already venturing my mind into working and living in another country. I wasn't sure which
Hmm.
one yet,
Hmm.
but it was gonna. I wanted to, look for that opportunity, and that happened after school, a year or two. There was part of a friend of my dad, uh, also in the real estate investment. He's a builder. He's also an architect, and and one visit to Miami because we always came back to Miami for one, vacations, right? Why
Hmm.
not Miami? Um, and one of those trips, we sat down and started to discuss, and apparently, there was like some interest, and why not? Let's not try it for a year or two. And we did all the things. Back then, it was much easier with the visa stuff and work permits. This was back in 2016, and I landed in Miami. Working on the real estate side of the family that wanted to start investing in Miami this time.
So help me understand that, right? So there was your dad a developer? Was your dad an
No.
investor? Okay, so no, not none of that. But it was almost like a family friend that was
Yes.
okay. So
Yes.
a family friend got you interested, and he was the developer, or he was a architect. But did he also do some development as well?
Correct. Yeah, he also did some development, so he was basically my mentor when I landed into Miami.
Okay,
Um, but my family, my dad, my mom wanted to, uh, they had some money aside and wanted to start investing in Miami.
got it, got it,
We
got it.
started
So
small.
you're so got it. So what does small mean to you? Like, how did you guys start?
We started with one house, a single family affordable home of
Mm-hmm.
1,500 square feet. Um, and we started flipping them. So basically, bought the land, built it, and sold it.
So did you build, then you bought the land you built from scratch, or you renovated an existing property, or was it new construction?
New construction, yeah.
New construction. Okay, cool.
And the first one was permitting wise a pain in the ass. Can I say that?
Of course, yeah, you can absolutely say that, right? 100%. Pain in the ass to do the permitting,
Yes.
right?
Pain in the ass. And it
And so
hasn't
that,
changed.
and by the way, so that was the first one. So the first one was new construction, built to sell. So essentially, you built a spec house, right?
We built a spec house, yeah.
You built a spec house, right? Small, 15. You said 1,500 square feet.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember it was a 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Yes, it was not a box. It was almost a box of a house, but everything spec to whatever Home Depot had in stock,
Got
so we
it.
could build it fast. And that was part of the learning period I had, thanks to this builder who was also building other bigger spec homes, like
Hmm.
8,000 square foot homes, a waterfront. At the time when I came in, I kind of started also learning that side of the business and more of the luxury and high end projects,
Mm-hmm.
and I started getting into the interiors things of those homes while we were working on the developer of this, the developing building this one single family home that we later sold.
Yeah, so
It
so
was
really it was your training ground. He probably said, "Hey, let me let me
absolutely.
let me put you on this one little project. You cut your teeth, you make a bunch of mistakes." Was it a modern home? Like I see when I go on your website now, everything is like, drop dead gorgeous and modern luxury. But was it a modern home? Was it just like a bread and butter typical house in Florida? Like what was it?
Yeah, no, this case was a typical bread and butter Floridian home with a, pitch roof and trusses, wood trusses, and CMU block and small windows. It wasn't nothing different than what you could find in that area.
Got it.
I would say, actually, yes, I would say the biggest difference was the layout, because while we weren't gonna be able to change much things in the shell of it, but the layout, I think we did a great job, like in how to make the rooms look wider, not using so much space in hallways and corridors. Um, we actually had a lot of closets in the house without making the rooms too small.
Did you guys
So
make money on that first project?
no.
That's good, right. I want people to hear that. I want people to hear, right? Like it's the MBA that we get along the way, right? Like you
Yes,
gotta you gotta pay
absolutely.
that you gotta pay that tax somehow. So give me the numbers. What was it?
Oh, I don't have it on top of my mind, but
Okay. But
I would say
you remember you
I
did make
remember.
money.
Yeah, I remember we made money. We didn't lose money, but it was a break even, hard break even after, I think it was four, no, like 6 months later. So it's like basically
Yeah, you worked for free for 6 months.
I worked for, yeah, exactly.
You worked for free for 6 months, and maybe you lost a little money, but that was the education, right?
Absolutely,
What
yeah.
what were the lessons learned during that education that people in our community could learn from, right? Because a lot of these stories are so that people can understand what to do, what not to do, what to stay away from, like little hacks. And what's interesting is that you decided to build right first, right? A lot of investors start off by fixing and flipping their first house, maybe not doing new construction because that's a whole nother level of skill set right above them. But yeah, lessons learned.
Well, after a couple of years, I would say that new construction and remodeling, at least in Miami, it's like completely different markets and different skill sets.
Hmm.
Um, and well, I had the great opportunity, and I was lucky enough to have someone who could walk me through the process. But in that same way, the lessons learned were things that no one told you, such as permitting like what it takes. I mean, you never believe when they first tell you, like, the stories of the permitting process in the cities. I don't know if it's a city Miami thing or what, but the stories are incredible. And
Yeah, the red
the
tape
red tape.
involved. Yeah, yeah, crazy. Right.
Yeah, and so when again, I only had my information from one person in that moment, and that he, this builder told me go and talk to him, and then I trusted it, and I mean, why wouldn't I?
Hmm.
People I'm trusting, I'm just learning the whole thing. I have to learn from them. And one of the biggest things I learned is, yeah, the red tape out of it, and that some people think they can get away out of it, away from
Hmm.
them, from
Hmm.
X, Y, and Z reason, but then it comes biting you back, sadly.
100%.
So my
100%.
first lesson learned there was, whatever red tape it is, go through the process right away because it's gonna come back.
Yeah, don't cut corners, right? Yeah, one of the things I remember when I got into business with my partner Mark, and it was like, Mark, always pull the permits. There's so many
Yes.
investors, right, on the renovation side that think they're going to skirt the system, but a smart agent will ask for those permits upon completion of the work, and then they can hold you hostage for that if you don't have the permits, and they can renegotiate the deal. So I was like, pull the permits, right? Because otherwise it's going to come back and like bite you in the butt, right? With new construction, I imagine like there's no way around it. Maybe there's like little ways that you can skirt things, but people, I see investors skirt it all the time with renovations, right? So sound advice, right? Don't cut corners when you're going to
Don't
do
do
that. Yeah, because it's going to come back and it's going to cost you twice as much, and you got to rip out some shit or do something all over again, or you get slapped with fines, right? Or you get sued, right? It's just not worth it.
it. Yeah, in my case, what I also learned is that at the end is time, and time is money, and time, anything that's gonna cause you even a little bit of an extended period. For
Hmm.
example, not getting the permits, and then you're gonna have to do it later. The permits, meaning you have to do the inspections later instead of doing it at the same time that you could have spent maybe 3 or 4 days more. But doing it later is gonna take you 4 weeks. So
Hmm.
that 4 weeks is just killing everything and the profits. It just eating
Yeah,
up
your
your profit.
your profit, the aggravation, the headache. In where we live, I live in the Northern Virginia area, but DC is only 30 minutes away from where I live. And the red tape in DC is crazy. And the amount of developer friends that I know that have just lost their ass, because of the red tape in DC, and just not knowing what you
Wow.
don't know, right? Just not knowing what you don't know in the district, and then trying to circumnavigate the system, and then just getting stop work orders, and it's just not worth it. So learn the rules of your area, of your market. Sound advice. Don't cut corners. They always come back to bite you in the butt. Like another good valuable lesson. How did you start making that transition from like your bread and butter Florida typical pitched roof home to these beautiful modern homes that I see on your website? Like, how did that transition happen?
It wasn't a fast transition at all. Um, we did a few more affordable homes also. I call it affordable, but it's more like workforce housing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and eventually, we got an investor that, no, sorry, we started with a land. We got a land, an opportunity, and we didn't have the money to buy it, out of the non-profit giving projects that we were doing. This happened in 3 projects, by the way.
Oh, okay. 3 projects where you earned your MBA. Good,
Yes,
good stuff.
exactly. Um,
And by the
so
way, I want people to hear that because it was like not one, not two, but not three, where you were just like, okay, we're just going to keep failing forward until we get this right.
absolutely, absolutely, and as long as you know what you learn in the process, you're gonna move forward. Or if you don't learn it from then, you're gonna get stuck. But that's a different conversation.
Hmm.
um, So we got this opportunity of this land. We didn't have any money to buy it. It was, much more than what we were doing in the small homes. So my mentor Pablo, the builder, had a lot of contacts, and we started, and he convinced one to start investing. It wasn't that much money. We had nothing like super structured like we have today.
Mm-hmm.
But we started a lot of security. We were just gonna earn our services, you can call them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we started designing this. It was a 2,500 square foot home,
Mm-hmm.
contemporary style, and shortly after that came another for like a 5,000 square foot home. And we started working on this, and because he already came with the bigger homes, working on it, and I was coming into the interior side, but now was like my first opportunity to start like actually drawing them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to step back one bit. During that process of the homes that I did not earn anything, that I did my MBA, I also learned that the architects that worked in that environment weren't like really developer focused. They were more, hey, I want to go and build my house, and they took the forever to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
do the
Mm-hmm.
plans, get the permits, do revisions. Like we had to change one or two things here to submit to the city real quick and go back to the construction. Instead of taking 2 days, 3 days, a week maybe, it took them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and which is killing us. So I decided after that MBA first year that I had to do my architecture license.
Mm.
So grabbing these two opportunities, I was already studying for my architecture license in Miami, in Florida, and like the two things just convened
Mm-hmm.
and matched. So it was a good opportunity. I had to work a lot, study a lot, and at some point while getting my license, later doing the exams, I was working until like 4 p.m. and studying until like 8, until 2000, and I got the license and managed to do everything and was finally able to open the firm. So
And
I don't
20
know.
was that 2020 when you opened the
That
forum?
was, yeah. I finished exams in 2019 and opened the firm in 2020. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Now, was it out of curiosity once you were like starting to design and draw the houses, right? Um, were you making money as an architect on the side to help pay bills? Because as of right now, I didn't hear any income being made, right? So, how were you making money? I guess is my question, right?
Well, these two homes that I was talking to you about, they helped us a little bit, yes,
Okay.
but it was more on the sale later that we were gonna earn,
Mm-hmm.
and we kept doing the homes too, the smaller homes, the 1,500 square foot homes. Sometimes it was 1,600, and after the three not so great ones, we did start making money in the next five of them. I think we ended up doing 6 more, yes. And in those, we earned. I also learned how to buy land in distress or in auctions, tax auctions.
Yep. Yep.
And I didn't manage to build any of those because of I don't know why they had so much violations and stuff. So you had to just sit down with the people in the county and talk to them and reduce and reduce and reduce. And I did it like 3 or 4 times, but I couldn't like reduce it enough. So eventually I sold those land, but still I had a profit on that,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
very good profit. Years later, I went by and saw the lands that were completely developed. I don't know how. Learned on money, but okay. And so yeah, it was like a side stuff while I was studying that kept the bills paying.
Good.
Thankfully.
Well, I always tell everybody that on this journey, you've got to learn, and I'm curious how you're going to answer this question, but you've got to learn how to build a cash machine, right? You got to make 30, 60, 90-day money. You got to learn how to make that kind of money. as you start building your wealth machine, right? Like we're defining wealth as when you're really money, your assets work harder than you do, right? And it's a journey that a lot of entrepreneurs are on. They're like, hey, you start converting your job income, right, or your self-employed income into business income, right? So your first step was when you opened your firm, starting to convert into business income, and then when that business starts actually working harder than you do, right? Because in the beginning, like it might take you 4 or 5 or 10 years, really, but before you build that business to a, to the point where you can actually have additional leverage within that business. But all along, you could be taking the money that you're making as a self-employed, highly paid self-employed business owner and buy rentals and assets, right? And so I don't know if anybody's ever kind of explained that cash machine, wealth machine idea to you, but I'm curious, like, have you guys kind of mapped that out in your business? Like, how do you make your 30, 60, 90? And I suspect that possibly your architect license helps you do that, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit
Yes.
about, yeah,
So we're talking today, right? Or
today. Yeah, we're talking today.
well, I'm a very systematic person. So I really enjoy building processes, systems, and things that I can delegate to someone. So eventually, the architecture firm not only worked for the developer project we're doing, but also other projects, because we we started doing this design machine that was focused on developers to try to get the permits and construction as fast as you can.
Mm.
And eventually we got very efficient on it, and I had to start bringing in team members, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really bringing in projects. So not only we got the projects with their milestones, so we got my 30, 60, 90 on the design fees of those
Mm-hmm.
projects. Um, but I'm not doing anything. It's my team doing it,
Good for you.
because I have them they're not like, hey, I have to download this spec sheet and checklist and have to follow it. No, at the end they learn from it, and they're very autonomous. So
Mm-hmm.
today, my architecture team we are 8 in total,
Awesome.
um, and I have 3 amazing project managers, one business and marketing manager that helps me with all that part, and then the rest is assistant project managers, you can call them, and but in the end, every single one of them knows what they have to do, when, and they just come to me when we have like bigger issues that we have to make decisions, and it's great. So I can go on vacations and they just work alone and work on their side.
And that is a I want people to hear that, because really your business in its current form has really only been in existence in the last 4 years, right? 4.5 years, somewhere around there, right? So that's not an easy thing to accomplish, what you just did in 4 years. Most people are do-it-yourselfers, right? Like they do it themselves, right? They're a great architect, so they believe only they can be the great architect, the great artist, right? And so they get stuck doing it, right? How did you how did you do that? Who taught you that, right? How did you learn that?
Change my mindset, you mean?
Yeah, how did you change? Yeah, how did you change your mindset around that? How did you create the systems around that? Did you always know that that's what you wanted to do? Right?
Oh, I wish.
Curious.
No. So one of the things that they don't teach you in architecture school and many schools apparently is how to do business,
Yeah.
specific processes. So eventually, also I'm a researcher and knowledge seeker by nature. Eventually, I stumbled upon a few podcasts and then a couple of books. I wasn't a good reader before. Now I love to read. I don't know if you can guys see the books
Oh yeah.
or catalogs and stuff, but eventually I learned that no, I can't do this business on myself. I need some help, in the sense that I had a mentor that helped me with the technical stuff, and it was great, and the permitting, and we still are partners today. But if he's hearing me, he's not gonna kill me, by the way. But he's not the best business person. Um, and I did hire a business coach.
Good.
I went to a program with a business coach. They helped me change the mindset, and everything made sense. It connected, like it clicked. And it's not
Was it a
basic
business?
mindset.
What was it? Was it a business coach that was focused on your industry, or was it just a broad-based business coach?
I was looking for both just to compare, but I ended up going with one specific for my industry.
Great.
And I'm still with them actually, in a more advanced programs. And you have to change your mindset of understanding that yes, you might be the perfect person for your business, for what you do, and there's probably no one that's going to do it as good as you. But if you keep doing that, you're just going to fail eventually. And my mindset was, okay, I have to accept that I can delegate that to someone who's going to do it 85% as good as me. And they're going to start at like 40, and you have to teach them the way up. So it's like, okay, great. How do I do that? And that's how I started. I already had the system before because it was for me. I just started to transfer that knowledge to the person I just hired, so they could help me. And
Fantastic.
and I don't know if I'm lucky or is it culture stuff, but we have an amazing team. We're very cohesive. We are very professional, but also like friends and family. Not that business-wise that you have to be careful with that. But I mean,
You're a strong team,
yeah,
right? You're a strong team.
And if you give them space and and a reason to where to go, and how do you call it? I forgot the name. It's
A vision.
Right now, but a vision, yes, and a goal, to get to. I mean, they can do stuff by themselves.
Yeah, I think one of the skills that people learn on this journey, and some maybe are more intuitive than others, but it's the ability to be able to create vision in a business that people can buy into, and then to be able to lead people well by giving them clear standards and methodology and systems that they can work within, like frameworks. Like give them a framework to be successful, with a clear mission and goal, with the culture of how you want things to have happen, right? How delivery is supposed to happen of your product, right, to the world. And if you can set the stage correctly, then you can build a business that actually works for you versus you always working in the business. Now, you're still the owner. There's still going to be like a lot of work that you have to do, but it's different type of work. It's leadership work, right? And you can't duplicate yourself. I mean, I should say, if you're the doer, it's hard to duplicate yourself, right? You need to duplicate yourself by leading, right? People well. And so, I would say honestly, I normally find people start learning how to do that year 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some people never learn how to do that. So the fact that you've got that at year 4, right, and already have a team of 8, and you're really delegating everything, like, dude, kudos, great job, right? And I think probably a lot of that is just hiring a coach early,
Absolutely.
right? Because, we all try to do things on our own many times as entrepreneurs, and the truth is people have built firms like these before. So why reinvent the wheel, right? Learn from their mistakes and do it. So find a good mentor, find a good coach, good business coach. How many projects are you guys cranking out now a year?
Well, our goal is 11 projects that are around 8,000 square foot each a year.
Okay.
That's our goal. This year we have 10 projects, but if you like prorate the sizes, we're like 10% under. So one more project before the end of the year, and we're with a goal. But that's how we were set up today, and like 11 projects a year plus maybe 2 or 3 smaller ones from homeowners, because our focus is developers, spec homes, specifically. Um, but every so often someone comes in and says, "Hey, I love your designs. Can you design one for me?" And we start having the conversation, and if the feeling is right, um, then we could say yes, maybe. We don't say yes to many of them because they disrupt our workflow. They could disrupt our workflow, and in the end, when you already have like the machine going, and you're still making improvements, because improvements are always there. You always have to fix, make it better, to push yourself. So when there's something that disrupts like a bad client or unpaying client, then it disrupts the workflow, and you have to start working around it, fixing stuff in the schedule or whatnot, and then that changes, the machine that we love and have built all together.
Are you doing the design and the build, or just the design?
I'm doing just the design, but
Okay.
Because we're partnered in the real estate firm with the builder, we actually work in the same roof, under the same roof. I don't oversee the construction, but we are like both teams are constantly in communication.
Talking. Yeah. Just making sure that
Exactly.
the design is reality and vice versa, right?
And vice
It's like,
and
yeah.
the budget on their side is met, basically. And we're not over designing stuff too. That happens.
What part of Miami are you doing this in?
We have
All
different-
over?
Yeah, in Miami, Pinecrest, Miami Beach, North Miami, Miami's, Coconut Grove, City of Miami. All of them are a pain in some way or another, but that's fine. If not, everyone would be able to do it efficiently.
I should introduce you to a friend of mine. I've got a couple friends of mine in Miami, but one, his name is Hudson Santana. Hudson actually lives in the Coconut Grove area, and he's a developer, but he does projects in Boston, luxury, new construction projects in Boston. But he lives in Miami, and the reason is because that's where he had originally started that business, and so he's got a very successful real estate team in Boston. But they sell, really what they do is they sell his luxury, beautiful homes that he does in Boston, right? Very big in the cycling in Miami, because I guess there's a lot of cyclers in Miami. Yeah, he loves cycling in Miami, and so he moved to Miami for the lifestyle, to raise his family and kids and all of that, get out of the cold of Boston. But his business is still in Boston, right? And I was like, "Well, what are you doing in Miami?" He's like, "We don't do anything in Miami. I live in Miami." Like, it's so interesting,
That's amazing.
right? It's amazing, right? It's amazing. It's amazing. So I should make an introduction, just because you guys are kind of playing in the same space, and you never know. Maybe one day he'll decide he wants to build something beautiful in Miami,
And not only that, because he's the type of like people that we want to buy our homes. People that want to just go and enjoy the lifestyle that is Miami, whether it's in Pinecrest or Coconut Grove or Miami Beach. It's just different types of lifestyles. But that's what we were embracing, and our message today is that, and so it fits amazingly.
Yeah. I got the vibe. I got the sense. I was like, I gotta introduce. Part of what I'm a big believer. I'm a connector of people, right? I'm a big believer in connecting. Yeah, a big believer in connecting people, and you just never know where those connections are going to take you, right? So what do the plans look like for you guys? Just kind of wrapping up a little bit. What do the plans look like for you guys moving forward? Where do you want to take this business? right? You got to keep it local to Miami. You got to, expand all over the world. Like, what's the vision?
Well, no, yes and no. Our vision today is it's always been in Miami, South Florida area. It's a market that we know very well, and we don't want to grow that much either. I mean, what how we are right now is our not so much comfort zone, but enough, to keep pushing us, but not expanding that much. And also Miami it's a bubble, it's a in a good way, in a sense as it's very different than what is happening in the rest of the country,
Hmm.
market wise, and for different reasons. It's not only attractive for the climate and for people from the other states, but it's also very attractive for Latin countries.
Hmm.
So a lot of people
Hmm.
come from Chile, Argentina,
Hmm.
Brazil, um, and at the end of it feels like it's the Latin capital city. It's
100%.
an amazing hub. Um, so we like to stay in Miami, but that
You
doesn't
said,
mean.
well, you said something actually. You said something that I want to double click on a little bit. Um, and I appreciate this. You said, we've got like a sweet spot, and like we're good being in our sweet spot. It's probably the right balance between money, stress, productivity, right? There's like you found a sweet spot. Which I'm not saying that you're saying this, but this is what I heard, right? Which which when you build a business, you hope to find a sweet spot. Like sometimes the pursuit of more is at the expense of stress or time or, you know, over leverage. And so being able to tone down, I'm speaking to myself by the way, our ego to find that sweet spot, right? Of that balance between those things, right? Great quality work, great quality life, great quality profit, right? There is a spot, right?
Yeah.
Did I hear you correctly? That's what I
It's
that's
absolutely correct. And but you have the risk of having that sweet spot, um, being too comfortable in it, and you
yes.
just get static and stuck. So you always have to understand that, okay, it's that sweet spot, but you have to have a vision of where you're going also, so that you can keep improving and staying up to date. I mean, and that is not, I don't know, I've seen it with so many architecture firms of, people that have a good architecture firm but just stay stuck, and now they don't have how to retire. If they retire, they have nowhere to go. They basically can't.
Hmm.
And I don't want that to happen. Um, either because of it's either transforming you know, internally, or you're transforming externally. There's always a vision to go to, and not stay in a comfort zone. Like in the end, I'm not comfortable staying in my
Hmm.
comfort zone. So
Hmm.
I'm always trying to venture something new.
Have you thought
It
about?
sounds weird.
No, no, I totally get it. Listen, if you're staying still, you're actually going backwards.
Yes,
That's what happened. Time,
that's what I
right?
wanted to say.
Yeah, if you're staying still, you're actually going backwards, right? So there's always a constant forward motion, but sometimes you find people are just pushing forward at incredible paces due to ego more than
Right.
anything else, right? And so it's really being able to control oneself in the pursuit of what it is that you want to build, right? In my opinion, of course,
I
that's my
absolutely
opinion.
agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I've wondered about this, right? If you create beautiful designs and people from all over the world start seeing those beautiful designs and they're like, "Hey, I want that design off the shelf," right? Have you ever thought about, selling off the shelf designs, or is like that cheapens what you do or who you are? Like, curious how you see that as an architect, right?
It's I mean, there's always that thought, but but it also every single project is unique because they have unique
Topography.
characteristics.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, the site is different. Even if they all cut the same size and all in the same orientation in the same street, yeah, sure. But there's one that has this tree and the other one that has the, I don't know, the elevation is a bit lower and you have to bring it. There's always something different.
Interesting.
I've never done all our spec homes are infills basically, meaning
Yeah.
that you know it's just one lot that we demolish and build new, but it's this one lot, isolated lot. We've never done like a community of homes, which I would think maybe that's one way that I would repeat a design. Maybe.
Got it.
No,
Yeah.
you have to. You have to. It's not maybe. It's for sure. One, two, three, four typographies, but still going to be the same design. But actually selling off like a shelf, I don't know. No, not really. Not really.
Not interested. Yeah. So I get that because every the light hits the lot differently. The topography of the lot is different. The views are different, right? So they should be capitalized in different ways. Yeah. So I get that. I get that. They're works of art. You're an artist. They're works of art. Okay. Well, if people want to learn more about what you're doing in Miami, how would they find you?
Our website is the easiest way, mikarchitecture.com. You can also follow us in Instagram, mik.architecture, and LinkedIn the same thing, mik architecture. But our website, you can go in there and you find all our social media stuff. I like to write a lot also, so we have our blog post there, and we're trying to get it to be more lifestyle oriented now in Miami, but there's fun stuff there and great tips too if anyone wants to start developing in Miami.
Yeah, just to learn the game in Miami, like
Yeah.
right, learn. That's awesome, man.
Exactly.
I appreciate the insight and I appreciate the inspiration, and I think that there's some lessons that our community can pull out of today's discussion as they're building their machine, right? As they're building their business, right? There's some things I heard, right? Like I heard that you love learning, so you believe in mentorship, you believe in coaching, you believe in developing systems and processes. You believe in empowering other people to be leaders within an organization, right? You have standards for your business, your practice. You understand your sweet spot. You understand your avatar of who your target buyer is, right? These are all valuable lessons that people from our community can learn from as they build their machine in whatever discipline it is. So thank you for today, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having, and that was an amazing summary of like key items that we talked about. Even I got it. I learned something from it. So thank you so
Very,
much for having me. It was very
my
fun.
my pleasure, man. Thank you for joining us.